the idea is a brief orientation. Okay, so for those who want to appear for 2027, if you're starting right now with zero preparation, so how exactly you want to approach the subject of geography? Okay, so there may be many videos available in YouTube, or maybe there are sessions happening. Okay, so but still read it firsthand and try to understand on your own. This is for you. UPSC has released this for each one of you. Only official source of communication between UPSC and you. There are three different parts mentioned here. One is physical, another is social, third one is economic. In the main, there are two parts, written and interview. Written has a total of 9 papers. And most important thing you have to ensure here is the analysis of the PYQ for the last 10 years of minimum. Okay, so we in our class, we give you 25-year analysis.
UPSC preparation begins with one practical question. How do you turn a vast syllabus into a clear, workable study process? That clarity does not come from adding more material. It comes from a structure that decides sequence, priority and review. The Delhi GS Foundation course at Vision IAS is built around that structure. Core subjects are taught in a planned flow, so concepts build instead of overlapping. Current affairs are integrated with static topics, so relevance is clear from the start. Tests are used to check understanding at the right stage, not just to measure scores. Mentorship focuses on keeping preparation aligned as the syllabus progresses. The result is a preparation process that stays steady and predictable, even as the syllabus expands. If you are looking for a structured approach to general studies, covering both prelims and mains with regular guidance and review, this course provides that framework. Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation course starting from 6th January at 11 am, 16th January at 8 am and 23rd January at 5 pm at Karol Bagh and 7th January at 6 pm for English and 12th January at 11 am for Hindi at GTB Nagar. For more information, visit our website or call us on the given numbers.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Rajesh Govindaraj. I'm faculty of Geography, Environment and Disaster Management here at Vision IAS. Okay, so along with GS, I also take optional geography classes here. It's been 10 years since my association with Vision IAS here. And it was a great learning experience, and I'd like to see this as an opportunity to learn rather than teach. Okay, so because when you teach, you understand things better, you know things better. Okay, so that is my motivation of teaching here. Otherwise, by native, I'm from Karnataka down south, and so gave my fair share of UPSC preparation, and so some success, some failure. So finally, I'm here. Fine. So geography and environment are two subjects where I study, understand with passion, and so it is not so something which I do it out of so as a job. Okay, so or I see it as something with some kind of theory. Okay, so I want to see it in reality, and that is how I try to teach also. So talking about you guys, so how many of you are planning to give in 2027? 2027. Good. How many of you are still in college? ठीक है. So you should be eligible by 2027 then. Okay, so good. Okay, so through this session, let's try to understand the subject of geography. Okay, so geography is a subject. What is this subject? And what should be the approach for UPSC civil services examination? Okay, so in all three stages, prelims, mains, as well as the interview. Okay, so and what are the basic sources which one has to follow, and so some idea of UPSC's way of asking questions. Okay, so that you have some idea of what is the subject and how to prepare at the end of the session. Okay, so of course we'll not be able to do justice by covering everything in depth. The idea is a brief orientation. Okay, so for those who want to appear for 2027, if you're starting right now with zero preparation, so how exactly you want to approach the subject of geography for all three stages? Okay, prelims, mains, as well as interview. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so why not start our session with a direct UPSC question itself for you to get an idea. Okay, so what exactly is the nature of questions in geography? Okay, so let's try to attempt this. This is one of the PYQ from last year, that is 2025. This was the question from the topic of Earth, solar system, and the universe from geography, of course. Okay, so try to read the question and try to make sense out of this. Okay, so you don't have to find the exact answer, but at least try to understand what is being asked and what UPSC is expecting when it comes to geography. Okay, done. So what is UPSC trying to ask here? Your awareness and the knowledge, first thing, that the time is not same everywhere. Okay, so Earth being a spherical shaped body, the time on the Earth is not same everywhere. You must have heard that if it is evening, right now it is evening in India. So in USA it is just morning. The sunrise is happening. In Africa, so maybe it's afternoon. In Japan, it's already post midnight. The time is not same. Okay, so second thing, to synchronize our idea of time, we have a concept called as time zone, which will give you a rough reference how to calculate time. In addition to this, there is also something called as international date line, where a date changes. Date changes. That is what is called as international date line. In this, we are trying to understand both the time as well as the date concept together. Okay. Is it possible that the time is same but still the date is different? That is what the first statement says. There are two cities. One is another in Siberia. So second one is Nome in Alaska. There are two cities. They are just few kilometers apart. They are very nearby. People are waking up and getting set for breakfast. Here also people are getting up. Here, there also people are getting up. They are getting ready for breakfast. It would be different days in both the cities. That means if it is Monday here, there it is Tuesday. Or if it is Tuesday here, there it is Monday. Okay, so first statement basically says that the days are different, time is same. Is it possible? That is the idea of international date line. This is not something which you can mug up and remember. There is a concept, there is a logic here. You understand the concept of international date line, you get the answer here. Okay, so it's very simple. If the international date line is separating the two regions, okay, so in this there is ahead, this is behind. If this is Tuesday, this is Monday. The time is same. This is ahead of international date line. इससे आगे है, इससे पीछे है. ऐसा ही क्यों है? Reference क्या है? What is the reference? Why we have made it something like this? This is the idea of international date line. You have to sit and understand. Then it's very easy. There's nothing to mug up here. The time is same. Here also morning, here also morning. Because time is dependent upon the sun's position. Sun's position is same here. Whereas date is different. When it is Monday in another, Tuesday in no, it is actually the other way. Okay, so another it is Tuesday, Monday is no. Okay, this is ahead, this is behind. So this is the question which is trying to test your conceptual clarity. Okay, so usually people think that geography is, so facts. Geography is based on locations, maps. You have to remember. You have to mug it up. No, it's the most important myth. Okay, so let me give you one more question. This is again from 2025 only. Try to answer this. Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. Atmosphere's gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping the radiation. Again, nothing to mug up. It's basically the idea of atmosphere. What is the role of atmosphere? What is the function of atmosphere? What is present inside the atmosphere? You must have heard about the term global warming. सुना है? सुना नहीं है तो भी एक्सपीरियंस तो किया होगा, right? The basic idea of atmosphere, it is not just any gaseous envelope around the earth. It protects the earth from becoming too hot and too cold. It will not let the earth to become too hot nor too cold. It's like a warm blanket around the earth. That warm blanket will ensure that too much of sunlight is not coming. At the same time, too much of sunlight, too much of heat is not leaving also. It is like a warming effect. It's based on this. Fine. This is how the prelims questions are there. In prelims, you will also find certain questions which are totally related to, so let's say locations. This is another example. These are all mapping related. It looks like completely factual question. So no, looks like completely factual. It is factual, but it is not something which is random. They are asking about cobalt. Cobalt बहुत लोग सुना भी नहीं होगा, unless you are from science background, right? They're saying that cobalt's 3/4 of the world's cobalt are located in only one country. Which is that country? When you study about geography, a major part of geography is economic geography. Of course, there's a physical geography, there's also economic geography. In economic geography, you study about the economic resources. What are the different types of resources available on the earth? In that, you have to focus upon those resources which are recently in news. One which is very much significant, like petroleum, gas, iron, okay, so gold, etc. Very much important, you have to know about them. Second, those resources which are recently in news. Cobalt is something which is recently in news because of battery manufacturing. One of the very, very important, so mineral which is part of this, the entire electric motor vehicle industry. It acts like a raw material for this. And in the recent times, there's a drastic increase in the number of electric vehicles in the world. There's a greater push for electric vehicles. Okay, so from USA is Tesla, so till here in Tata, Mahindra, everywhere they're trying to push for electric vehicles, right? In that context, there's a very great dependency on a particular mineral, and that mineral comes from a single country. This should not skip your mind if at all you are reading resources. It's not like every mineral is somewhat like this. Very rarely you will find such a mineral which is highly concentrated only in few locations. That is your focus area. Nothing is random here. You can try to connect the dots. You find some logic over there why this question is being asked. Okay? Let me show a question in mains. This 2025 mains question from geography. What are tsunamis? How and where are they formed? What are their consequences? Explain with examples. Before 2004, most of us in India did not know about tsunami. 2004 was when tsunami struck India. After the earthquake near Indonesia. That was my generation when they got to know. I guess your generation got to know when 2011 Japan tsunami came. Fine. Tsunami is a very strong movement of ocean water near to the coastal region influenced by certain activity which happens under ocean, underwater. It can be earthquake or volcanic eruption or a large scale landslide, okay, so or land subsidence or even a meteoritic impact. Fine. Recently, in Russia, near to the easternmost part of Russia, Siberia, because there a very high magnitude earthquake happened and that triggered a tsunami, which is not very common. Immediately there was a question in UPSC. A very simple and straightforward question. What is tsunami? How they are formed? What are the consequences? Explain with example. Fine? You're understanding the nature of question? Okay, so let's go into the syllabus now. So this is the syllabus of geography in prelims. From the notification, if you see, the notification for 2026 is about to be released. Okay, so it is in the month of second week or third week of January, you will find the notification. This year, there is a slight delay. Okay, so it may be expected anytime soon. In that notification, you have all the details related to the examination, from syllabus to qualification to the stages, every detail required for this examination. Okay, so you have to go through the notification in detail, line by line, what is applicable to you, what is not applicable to you. You have to be 100% sure about this. Please read this first hand. Okay, so there may be many videos available in YouTube or maybe there are sessions happening. Okay, so but still read it first hand and try to understand on your own. This is for you. UPSC has released this for each one of you. This is the only official source of communication between UPSC and you. It's trying to tell you, okay, what is this examination? उसके अंदर क्या क्या होगा, क्या क्या चीजें होगा. Please go through the notification in detail. I've taken this as it is from the notification and just highlighted that. The syllabus part in prelims, the geography syllabus is highlighted here. Okay, so the name of the subject is Indian and World Geography. There are three different parts mentioned here. One is physical, another is social, third one is economic. Geography, within that there are three branches. There are many branches. Of course, UPSC is saying, okay, you have to study these three. Physical, social and economic. Okay? So what is geography? Geography is the study of Earth and all the phenomena which is associated with the Earth. I'm sure last time you have read about geography was 10th standard. Any of you have studied geography from graduation? No? I'm sure you wouldn't remember many things about geography. याद है कुछ? Latitude, longitude, rotation, season, winds, cyclone. गलती से भी कुछ याद है तो बताइए. Every geography's topic is divided into two major parts. One is physical geography. Another is human geography. Physical geography is like the raw geography, where human beings are not there. You remove human beings from the picture, what is there on the earth? Land, air, water. The study of land, study of air, study of water, and their interconnectedness is what is physical geography. The physical conditions of the earth. You bring humans into the picture, then we'll try to do all circus. We'll try to dig out some resources. We'll try to do some agriculture, manufacture the products, provide services, transportation. We try to settle down in a particular place, make our own, way of settlement, and then we'll try to develop the surrounding areas. All this drama is human. Both are major branches of geography. One is physical, you study the physical conditions of the earth, then human from the human perspective. In physical, we have total of 5 branches. Geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, environmental geography. इतना फास्ट बना दिया आप, तो समझने में टाइम लगेगा, ठीक है. So don't worry, I'll show in the next slide. I told you about the study of land, air and water. Study of land is geomorphology. Study of air is climatology. Study of water is oceanography. Simple. Study of soil and life is biogeography. जहाँ पर तीनों है life भी मिलेगा, that is biogeography. And then there is a connection, exchanges between them, that is environmental geography. Environment is part of geography only. UPSC उसको अलग कर दिया. Traditionally it is part of geography only. 5 major branches. ठीक है. Human geography has only 2 branches. One is economic geography. That is, I told you about all the circles which we do. Okay, so primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, agriculture, industry, resource, transportation, that is all economic activity. Therefore, it is economic geography. Second is social geography. The way we live and survive, population, settlement, migration, tribal, culture, language, this is also part of geography only. There's economic geography, there's social geography. Together it is human geography. This is the basic division. This is normal study. Beyond that, when you specialize this, you go beyond this. There's political geography. Okay, so there's political geography, study of international politics from the geography's context. There's cartography, map making. Geographical thought, that is the philosophies in geography. बहुत सारा चीज़ें. That is not generally required, particularly in general studies. General studies के लिए ज़रूरी नहीं है. It's only for optional. Optional, it goes in detail. In general studies, we study about these 3. That is what is mentioned here. Physical, social and economic. Is that clear? This is prelims. Let's see in mains. I've just taken the geography part in the GS1. That is paper 2 of mains. ये तो पता है ना? Geography कौन सी paper में? GS1 is paper 2. How many papers are there in mains? तो बहुत basic है. चलो ये clear करते पहले. How many stages are there in UPSC exam? 3 stages? No. 2 stages. Yes. It is written in the notification. Prelims is stage 1. Main examination is stage 2. There are 2 stages. Prelims, stage 1. Main is stage 2. Main examination has 2 sub-components. One is written, another is interview. Okay? You clear stage 1, you are eligible for stage 2. Your entire marks in the stage 2 is calculated for giving you rank. Based on the rank, there is service. This is the idea. Therefore, the marks of written and interview are clubbed together to give you ranks. Otherwise, based on the rank only, they will select you. It is the main examination which is deciding your rank. Fine. In the main, there are 2 parts, written and interview. Written has a total of 9 papers. 9 papers. Paper A, paper B are 2 languages. Fine. Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, paper 5, paper 6, paper 7. 7 papers. Numbers. 1 is essay. 2, 3, 4, 5. GS 1, 2, 3, 4. So therefore, paper 2 is GS1. Paper 2 is GS1. What is paper 6 and paper 7? Optional 1, optional 2. That is same paper, same optional subject has 2 papers. Okay? This is clear. Now in GS1, that is paper 2, there is geography. In that geography, 3 topics are mentioned. First one, salient features of world physical geography. Or physical geography only. Which has geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, environmental geography also. Fine? That is the first topic. Second topic, distribution of key natural resources across the world. ये कौन सा है? Economic geography. Where we study about the resources and their distribution. Factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary, tertiary sector. agriculture, industry, manufacturing, okay, so transportation, this is all economic geography. It's completely economic geography. Important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, geographical features and their locational changes and critical geographical features in flora and fauna. ये कौन से टॉपिक है? This is physical geography only. Earthquake is part of geomorphology. Cyclone is part of climatology. Changes in flora and fauna, biogeography. Water bodies, oceanography. Okay, so and the effects of such changes, this is what we study in environmental geography. Basically everything of physical geography. When already physical geography is given over there, why UPSC has again brought these few topics separately? इसको अलग से क्यों मेंशन किया है? Of course, you are not going to study this separately. ये अलग से पढ़ ही नहीं सकते. It has to be studied as part of physical geography only. When you are studying geomorphology, you will study about all of this. When you are studying climatology, the respective. You cannot study it separately. Why UPSC is mentioning this separately? There is nothing unintentional in notification. There is always some intention behind this. उसके अंदर कुछ तो रीजन होगा, कुछ तो कॉज होगा. Because of challenges, ठीक है. तो why UPSC has to mention this? That means it's an important area in geography where you have to give a little bit extra focus. Simple. Why it is important? Because these are the geographical events which are occurring on day-to-day basis in the present context. They are more relevant in the present context, and most importantly, these are the one which impacts large-scale masses. These are the events which we call them as the disasters. They cause a great destruction, and as a civil servant, you're the one who is responsible for managing. At the district level, the District Disaster Management Authority is headed by IAS officer. You are going to work in this area. You need to have a clear knowledge about this. Therefore, UPSC is saying थोड़ा ठीक से पढ़ लेना, बाद में काम आएगा. Exam में भी थोड़ा सा ठीक ठाक questions आएगा इससे. That is the intention here. This area, if you see the PYQs, you will very clearly understand there is maximum number of questions from here. Among all the different sections, यहाँ पर सबसे ज़्यादा maximum questions है. ठीक है? Therefore, this is what is given here. So basically, in mains only physical and economic geography. There is no social geography. In prelims, social geography is mentioned. In mains, there is no social geography. Why so? Because in the same paper of GS1, there is a subject of society, which is separately mentioned. है ना? ये separately mentioned है वहाँ पर. In prelims, there is no society. There is a strong overlapping between society and geography. In prelims, society becomes part of geography only. In main, society has been taken out separately. So why to repeat here? यूपीएससी के लिए सिलेबस मतलब टॉपिक्स से फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. क्वेश्चन तो हम दे देंगे, आप ज्योग्राफी समझ के लिखो या सोसाइटी समझ के लिखो, अपना इच्छा है. गेटिंग द पॉइंट? Other than this, in few other parts of the syllabus, there are few subjects of geography which is not directly given, which you have to understand. Okay, geography is not restricted to only here. फिजिकल, सोशल, इकोनॉमिक, ज्योग्राफी खत्म है ही नहीं. प्रीलिम्स में एक और पार्ट भी है, देखो, जनरल इश्यूज ऑन एनवायरमेंटल इकोलॉजी, बायोडाइवर्सिटी एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज. दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ योर एनवायरमेंटल ज्योग्राफी. Even though we study this separately, you need to have a connection with geography. Then only you understand this subject better. ये भी हमारा ही है. In mains, there's GS3. In GS3, there are certain topics that are related to geography. For example, in economics, there are topics of agriculture is there. You'll study this agriculture as part of your economic geography. The primary economic activities, you have to study that also. Our contribution goes here also. There is infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways. This is our tertiary sector. Again, economic geography. Okay, so there is geography in GS3 also. And then conservation, environmental pollution, degradation. This is environmental geography. Disaster management. I told you these are the major events which causes disasters. You need to thoroughly be aware of those disasters. So the role of geography goes beyond GS1. All of this together, if at all you are studying the subject of geography in UPSC, both prelims, mains and interview, तीनों मिला के आपको क्या क्या पढ़ना है? These are the things. It is based on syllabus as well as based on PYQ. Last 25 years of PYQ analysis के through, this is what is the units which we can narrow down. Source आप कहीं से भी जाओ. You go refer any source, you have to ensure that you have covered all of these topics. Thus, world physical geography, there is certain topics related to the cosmology. Okay, so the planets, the solar system, universe, basic idea, you have to cover that also. Even though it is not mentioned in the syllabus, based in PYQ, if you see, you will understand this. Ye questions aata hai. Then geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, remote environmental geography, because you have to read environment separately. Otherwise, environmental geography is here. In Indian geography, the same physical aspects you have to study: the physiography of India, drainage system of India, climate of India, soil of India. This is from the world's perspective, this is from the India's perspective. You have to study it separately. Human geography, resource study, that is oceanic resources, water resources, mineral energy resources. Then comes primary economic activity like agriculture. Vegetation is also a resource only. Agriculture. Secondary is industry, tertiary is transportation infrastructure. And then comes social geography of population and settlement. In addition to this, there's also map location. You have to do it specifically for prelims and broadly for mains. This is your geography study. These are the areas where you have to focus upon in geography. I've done this based on the syllabus, summary of both prelims as well as mains, and then based on the PYQ. Now, what about prelims? What about mains? What about interview? How much of geography goes over there? Okay, so first let's understand the weightage. Okay, so if you go through the PYQ, you will understand many things. The first thing you will understand is the weightage. In prelims, on an average of 18 questions, based on the last 4 years trend, you can see around 18 questions are compulsorily from geography. Before that, there was some period of low level, in that around 11 questions. Before that, again, there were a good number of questions were there. If you take the average, आपको 15 तो मिल ही जाएगा पक्का. The present trend is around 18. Only from geography. I have not included environment here. You include environment, वो भी तो हमारे हैं. Include environment, it will go to 35. Geography plus environment plus mapping. 35 out of 100 in prelims is your geography related subjects. Mains, in GS1, there is only GS1. Average of 100 questions. Sorry, 100 marks. 100 out of 250. Okay? Average of 100 out of 250. Last year, that is 2025, 130 marks. The highest. The highest compared to any subject in your GS. GS में 5 major subjects are there: polity, geography, history, economics, environment. Okay? These are the 5 major subjects. In mains, there are many additions happen: society, ethics. Ethics become, of course, major one. Okay, so then there is science and technology, security. All of these are there. In that, so geography role in both prelims and mains is, you cannot ignore this. Okay, so you cannot avoid the subject. ऐसा नहीं कि एक minor subject है, चलो ठीक है, ऊपर ऊपर पढ़ के जाएंगे. You want to be sure, okay, so you want to clear prelims, you cannot ignore geography. You want to study, you may say, okay, so I'll ignore geography, I'll study environment. वो तो possible तो है ही नहीं. You want to study environment, you have to study geography first. Right? Prelims पक्का करना है तो geography पक्का आपका होना ही चाहिए. Mains, a minimum of 100 marks in GS1, around 50 to 70 marks in GS3. The questions related to agriculture, environment, disaster management, minimum 50 to 60. This year, if I have to count, 2025, last year, 130 marks in GS1, around 140 marks in GS3. 140 marks. 250 से ज़्यादा geography related है. GS3 में 2 क्वेश्चन था agriculture, 4 क्वेश्चन था environment. ठीक है, 2 questions on agriculture, 4 questions on environment. There is one more question on infrastructure, geography related. है ना? What about interview? Interview, they are not going to ask question like, ठीक है, चलो geography का पूछते हैं. Interview, they are going to ask, okay, so where are you from? कहाँ से हो? Where are you from? Arunachal Pradesh, very good. Okay, so very beautiful state. Richest in terms of natural vegetation and diversity. As soon as somebody sees, okay, so you're Arunachal, they will talk, okay, so Himalayas of Arunachal Pradesh, natural vegetation of Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so, or if let's say somebody is from Rajasthan, why Rajasthan is lacking water? Why rainfall doesn't go there? Desert क्यों बन गया? The first thing for anyone's mind it comes to hearing a place is geography. You need to be very clear about geography. Other than geography, environment is very, very common in interview. Most of the environmental issue, whether it's air pollution, water pollution, anything which is in current in context are related to environment. Half of it is related to environment. From climate change to global warming, Paris Agreement, India's commitments, सब कुछ environment related. Interview में इसका weightage तो और important है. ठीक है? Prelims, mains, interview, I told you about the overall significance. Type of questions I've already discussed. Okay, so I've given you some idea. So in prelims, so there are questions which are from the conceptual part of so geography. There's also location related questions. In mains, most of the questions are like testing your conceptual part as well as current affairs. Current affairs linkage, current affairs knowledge is very much required over there, right? So talking about the study, you cannot study this separately. ऐसा नहीं कि जियोग्राफी पहले हम प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ लेंगे, then we'll go for mains, then we'll study for interview. No, geography is a subject. Study for the sake of subject. You cannot study a subject separately for different stages. Everything is geography only. When you study the geography subject, try to see first understand the conceptual part. Along with that, try to remember the information which is required. Try to connect with the reality. When you understand the conceptual part, your foundation on the geography concepts builds up, and that is helpful for both prelims as well as mains. When you remember the information associated, that is helpful for prelims. In mains, for value addition. Examples, facts add करने के लिए. When you apply in real world and try to understand, that is helpful for interview. It is the same subject studied in an integrated manner, which is applicable for all three stages. Is that clear? There's little bit more analysis. I'll share the PPT with the video, so you can download this. And this is just a glimpse of what are the different sections carrying how much of weightage in prelims. Okay, so in mains. And most important thing you have to ensure here is the analysis of the PYQ for the last 10 years of minimum. Okay, so we in our class, we give a 25-year analysis for every topic. Let's say I'm covering geomorphology. After every topic of geomorphology, if any questions has come in the last 25 years, I'll give immediately. And even I ask the students to write then and there. Let's say I've covered earthquake. Earthquake में last 25 years में जो भी question आए हैं तो तब भी solve कर देंगे. And mains में जो questions आए हैं वो notes में होना चाहिए, so that when you read the notes you will understand what kind of questions have come. Minimum 25 years. From your end you have to do this. From your end minimum of 10 years you have to do it. ठीक है? Minimum 10 साल का तो आपको करना है. Prelims separately, mains separately. Fine. So these links are there in the YouTube. Okay, so I'll be anyway sharing this this video. So in the description of this video, it's there in the. It will be uploaded in the YouTube. Okay, so वहाँ पर आप download कर सकते हो. Go to each of them. You will find the analysis of that year's PYQ. Okay, so for example here from 2014 to 2018, I have only taken this all for Vision IAS. Okay, so when do you have to do this? सारा geography पढ़ने के बाद में before, अभी. In fact, before you start your geography preparation itself. You may not understand, so let's say 70% तो समझ नहीं आएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कान में डालो पहले. Okay, so listen to the questions. Try to make sense out of this. When you start reading, then you will remember these questions. Immediately your mind will go, okay, तब सुना था. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि एक ही बार में हो जाएगा. So उसको वो क्वेश्चन भी डाउनलोड करो, उसको थोड़ा सा कोशिश करो याद रखने के लिए, बार बार पढ़ो. This is very, very important. Why? Because it will save your time. If you study geography, there is no end to this. I have been studying geography since last 15 years. Still there is more to understand. There is no end to it. You try to study, so you go into the subject in such a deeper manner. Okay, so आप भूल जाओगे. यूपीएससी के लिए पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, in that case definitely you should have some reference. Okay, so where should I stop myself? Because time is a limited resource here. Where you have to focus upon, you have to remember facts, information, or you have to give preference to concepts. PYQ analysis will help you in that. And also sources. What is the source you have selected? Whether you have to go for all NCRTs or 11th and 12th is sufficient. Along with NCRT, do you need any other resource? PYQ analysis. You go through the PYQ, you will get a very clear idea. Fine. Depth of subject again. You don't have to read each and every subject in depth. Okay, so I have given in that earlier breakup of the topics also. Population and settlement, I have kept it in the end. Even in the class also, I will take only 2 to 3 classes for this. इतना डिस्क्रिमिनेशन क्या है? क्वेश्चन नहीं आते भाई, पढ़ा के क्या फायदा है? There's not many questions. In prelims it is mentioned, in mains it is not even mentioned. There's not many questions at all. Whatever the question comes, we will be able to solve in this much of study. The time is a very, very important resource. To utilize the time effectively, please go through the PYQs beforehand. If you do it beforehand, it will save a lot of time for you. Okay? Sources. I'll tell you only the most essential sources for geography. Okay, of course, this is assuming that you know some idea of geography at least. Basic, थोड़ा बहुत तो पता है. जिनका zero knowledge है, I would say okay, start from 6th standard. 6th standard NCRT, 6th to 10th standard पहले कर लो. If you are able to understand, make sense of something, you can start with 11th. Or I'll make it easier for you. Start from 11th standard, read 1 or 2 chapters. If you're finding it too difficult, go back to 6th standard. Cover from 6 to 10, then come to 11th. If you're able to understand this, continue. There are 2 books in 11th standard. The Fundamentals of Physical Geography. This is part 1. The part 2 is India Physical Environment. This is basically World Physical Geography, Indian Physical Geography. दोनों के लिए अलग-अलग book है. ठीक है? Most important, most compulsory. Even if you have a better source, let's say covering very comprehensively, still I would say come back and read. Even I would tell my students in the classroom also. Okay, so even though they say, so okay, इसमें सब कुछ है सर, ज़रूरी है क्या? बिल्कुल ज़रूरी है. Because it's not about the content, it's about the way it has been presented, the language. Many times the questions are directly picked up from NCRT. You have to go through NCRT. 2 NCRTs are must line by line. Okay, so you have to complete this. For physical geography, there is one more book, basic reference book. It is called as G.C. Leong, Gocheng Leong, foreign author, only from the world's perspective, not an Indian author, not from India's physical geography. This is world physical geography. वर्ल्ड फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी के लिए ये तो है, ये भी पढ़ना है क्या? दोनों पढ़ो तो क्लियर हो जाएगा. इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल बुक. ओके, बहुत छोटा बुक है. इसके अंदर बहुत ही अच्छे से इंफॉर्मेशन है. ओके, सो इन ए प्रिसाइज मैनर इट हैज डिस्कस्ड many times. Again it is very much helpful for solving questions. This is both for prelims and mains. I already told you there is no separate source for prelims and mains. If you cover these 3, your basic concepts in physical geography will be clear. For human geography, 12th standard NCRT. Okay, 12th standard Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Then second book is India, People and Economy. This is from the World Human Geography. This is from Indian Human Geography. Fine. But the problem is human geography is little bit more current oriented. When we talk about the economic geography, particularly agriculture, resources, industry, okay, so they have to be regularly updated. The most latest data you need, most latest information you need. So this is not slightly updated. ये थोड़ा सा पुराना है. There I would give you an alternative, not alternative, so addition. Read this. In addition to this, read this also. Total geography is ICSE syllabus textbook. Okay, so in ICSE syllabus, only the topics of economic geography. It covers the entire Indian geography. You don't have to read entire Indian geography. Here cover only at least the resources, agriculture, industry, transportation, okay, so services and these concepts. Okay, just this much would be sufficient. This is a good alternative. If you cover this, your physical and human geography is done to some extent, and then you have to cover mapping also. Map reading. Map reading, same exercise. Go through last 10 years of minimum, so PYQ analysis of only map. In those videos which I have given as a reference, right? So those videos, initial part, I have discussed mapping only. Okay, cover that for last 10 years. You will get an idea how the mapping related questions are asked. And don't keep it as a separate exercise. ऐसा नहीं कि ठीक है फिजिकल हो गया, ह्यूमन हो गया, अभी मैपिंग करते हैं. Mapping has to go hand in hand. Whenever you are reading, let's say geomorphology, in that whatever the physical locations are there, you have to cover it immediately. Always keep your NCERT geography with an atlas. Whenever you are reading, going through that, if you find a location, immediately mark it in the atlas. And mapping is also not something which will do exclusively out of atlas. ऐसा नहीं कि atlas बैठ के पढ़ते. पागल है, दिमाग खराब हो जाएगा. So how will you be able to remember each and every location? First of all, you will have to identify which one is important, which one is not. In that, how will you be able to remember everything? There is a context. Try to see the context, why it is important. That context you will get in the textbooks. Okay, so open the textbook, read the unit, whatever the locations are there, immediately mark it there. That is how you do mapping. सेम अप्लाइज फॉर क्लाइमेटोलॉजी, ओशनोग्राफी, इंडियन ज्योग्राफी, इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी, हर जगह में अप्लाई कर लो, आपका सारा मैपिंग कवर हो जाएगा. Along with that, current affairs. When you read newspaper, keep atlas next to you. If you find any important location, okay, again mark it there. Okay, so map reading is a very important exercise. Please don't miss. So any of the atlas is required for that. What is the overall approach one has to follow for geography? Always start with basics. Okay, so don't do the mistake of randomly picking any topic and trying to read. You will not understand anything. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you want to study about tropical cyclones. To study about cyclones, you have to start from temperature. Sorry, even before that, insolation. Insolation से समझ आएगा temperature. Temperature से समझ आएगा pressure. Pressures और temperature से समझ आएगा winds. Winds and pressure system and different circulation से समझ आएगा आपको cyclone. Without knowing this connection, you will not be able to understand about the cyclone. उसके साथ साथ में आपको टोपोग्राफी भी समझना चाहिए. That is geomorphology का आइडिया भी होना चाहिए. And oceanography का आइडिया भी होना चाहिए. It's all interconnected. Always start with the basics. बेसिक से शुरू करके एक लॉजिकल ऑर्डर होते उसको पकड़ने की कोशिश करो. ठीक है? And don't start to mug up the locations and facts as it is. Not all required. First, try to understand the basics and develop a conceptual clarity. Very, very important. Try to see pictures and visualization as much as possible. YouTube में सर्च कर लो. आपको कोई समझ नहीं आ रहा है, सेम YouTube में डालो. Go for authentic source. नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक चैनल, BBC, ऐसे कोई ऑथेंटिक सोर्स में जाओ. वहां पर जो एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया है उससे समझने की कोशिश करो. विजुअलाइज करो. When you're talking about the cyclone, you need to visualize, okay, how exactly the cyclone is going to be. Without that, you will not be able to. It is not a theoretical subject. I already told you. It is the most practical subject. You need to understand in the real context. Practical applicability. Then उसके साथ में कोशिश करो याद रखने के लिए facts and information. बहुत easy हो जाएगा. लोग यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं, है ना? तो फिर वो बोर हो जाएंगे, फिर बोलेंगे ये तो मुश्किल है, ज्योग्राफी समझ नहीं आ रहा है. आपका तरीका ही गलत है. Maps and diagrams are very important for visualization as well as for answer writing. When you write answers, you should ensure that in every answer there should be at least a map or a diagram. That will fetch you extra marks. And give examples as much as possible. Connection with the current affairs is again very, very important. Okay, so people think geography is a very static subject. है ना? अब तो उसमें क्या ही लिखना है? Every topic can be linked with the current affairs. Every topic you can give a current relevance. That will make your answers better. That will make your understanding also better. Whenever you see some topic in the news, try to link it with what you had read from geography. This is the approach. Anything beyond this is what you should not be doing with geography. What you should not be doing with geography. Don't mug up the locations. Don't try to, mug up the facts without any kind of connection. Don't do that. Okay, so the second thing, don't pick up any advanced textbook without reading NCERTs. You should not be doing that. Okay, so reading it as only theoretical, static subject without applying any practical mind. Anything you read, anything you study from geography, you can see it outside. It's the most practical subject. And so we are in the month of January, the temperature is very, very cold, air quality is very, very bad. There is a connection here. Try to understand that. ज्योग्राफी से आपको बहुत इजीली समझ आ जाएगा व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ एयर पोल्यूशन हियर इन दिल्ली. द प्राइमरी कॉज इज द ज्योग्राफिकल रीजन, देन कम्स एंथ्रोपोजेनिक. ठीक है. एंड देन practicing answers with figures and maps. If you just write like any other subject, let's say polity or history, you don't need figures and maps over there. This is not like that. You have to, illustrate. You have to, every answer you have to picturize and show. That will fetch you maximum marks. And mapping is the most important aspect. Mapping carries like 50% of the weightage in prelims. Mapping is a very, very essential part. Don't skip that. Don't think आपने geography पढ़ लिया उसके साथ में हो जाता है, नहीं होता है. Give extra attention for mapping. ठीक है. And the other most important don't is not connecting with other subjects. You have to connect geography with economics, geography with environment, geography with society. That connection is very much important. That will enrich your answers and that will also fetch you better marks. Right?
Why waste time jumping between multiple sources for prelims practice when it only leads to repeated mistakes? Random tests and checking scores alone won't make you better. That's where Sandhan personalized prelims test series comes in. With over 25,000 curated questions, you can practice by topic, chapter or full subject, all tailored to your weak areas. Every question links back to NCERTs, GS fundamentals and current affairs, ensuring your mistakes turn into real understanding. Repeated errors are flagged early, logical elimination is sharpened, and guesswork is reduced. Each test is no longer just a score. It becomes a step toward accuracy, confidence, and control. Stop practicing blindly, start practicing smart. Your prelims preparation deserves Sandhan, where every question takes you closer to success. Register now at our website or call us on the given numbers.
Any doubts here? Yeah. So when I say do not mug up, not understanding the concept and trying to just remember the definition and as it is the conditions given under. Okay, so you should not be doing that. There's no point of that. Even if you don't remember anything, it's fine. But at least basically understand the logic behind the concept. Logical connection is important. When I say the connection, that is what? Whenever you're reading a particular topic, let's say you're talking about earthquake. Earthquake is a geographical phenomena. Try to understand from the economic significance. If a region is impacted with high intensity earthquakes, what are the economic significance around that? Economic impacts क्या होगा, उसके लिए precautions क्या लेने. There is also society's connection. There is also governance connection. Like that, you have to interlink the subject of geography with other subjects. Anything else? It's all clear. Wish you all the best. Thank you.